what should one know when buying or renting a property in India?
What is the nature of property? How did the funds come in? So the indexation was removed for NRIs.
How do you identify fraudulent property deals? Are there some red flags?
It always depends on the intent.
Any advice you'd like to give to NRIs that are looking to invest?
When real estate is such a big portion of your portfolio, you have to enjoy having real estate.
Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Navigate with HSBC. NRIs are increasingly looking to invest in the real estate market back in India. We're here to make things much simpler for you. What happens when your clients do get into them? There's ownership title disputes, there's property disputes, there's all sorts of cases that do come up. Are you able to help them there as well, or do they have to come down to India, be present in courts? How do you help them out?
I would look at it in two segments. If it's a new client, then when they're looking to buy the property, then there's a lot of due diligence that happens. And that goes right down to the property level, looking at all the encumbrances, ensuring that the titles are clean, there are no disputes and all of it, right? So a new client would more than likely not get into a situation like that. But if a client with an existing property and which has got into dispute comes to Indiassetz, then we do have the ability to try and figure out resolutions for that. We have in-house lawyers. We also have a large panel of lawyers that we have empaneled outside. Depending on the complexity of the case, we have the ability to reach out to them and unlock the value that's got stuck for such a long period of time. So that's something that we definitely do. I think that's something that a lot of clients also, find a lot of resonance with, because the last thing they want to do is keep coming back to India to attend court hearings, right? Air tickets are expensive these days.
Yeah, they surely are. You spoke about in one of the pitfalls how this client of yours took 4 years to try to get the money out of India into his account. Once you helped him, it took less than 4 months. But tell us what you do in terms of tax implications. What should one know when buying or renting a property in India? Currently, what do the rules say?
The typical tax implications are at the time of buying. Then the withholding tax provision is something that they have to be aware of. When they're selling properties, then there's going to be long-term capital gains or short-term, depending on the period of holding. So the implications of those. How was the money transferred into the country? Was it through the NRI route or was it through the NRO route? Because that has implications in terms of the repatriation of the funds back. How many properties have they invested in? Because from a residential real estate perspective, there's a limit. You can only repatriate funds for 2 properties. In commercial, there's no limit, right? So what is the nature of property? How did the funds come in? So all of those are pieces that they have to seek good advice from their trusted advisors. Indiassetz, of course, can be one of them. Being aware of all of these pieces is something that will help them avoid issues at a later point of time. This is on the capital gains. Now we look at regular returns. Again, they'll have to file returns in India because there's income getting generated in India. So they need to have those arrangements done to ensure that they have advisors who can help them file the returns. Then there are withholding provisions on the rentals as well. So they have to be aware of that. So those are the pieces that typically it's around annual taxes, capital gains.
And now and then you have big changes coming in like we saw last year.
We did, that was a surprise, but it is what it is. That's our stand always. But
that is the removal of indexation benefits.
So the indexation was removed for NRIs and the long-term capital gain was moved to 12.5%. Of course, we saw that in a lot of cases, particularly if the property is bought at a later point of time or in the last 5 to 10 years, then it doesn't make too much of a difference. It's beneficial for them. But there's that's going to change every year, and they just have to be aware of it. Rely on your advisors because we are here to do that work for you, and we'll ensure that you have a smooth journey in your real estate management.
Well, while you're there to sort of advise NRIs that are looking to invest in India, for the curious minds out there, how do you identify fraudulent property deals? Are there some red flags right away that you should be aware of? Any top tips you'd like to give?
When there is intended fraud, it's always difficult to catch, right? If it's a mistake, then I'm a chartered accountant and I know how audit works, right? So it's always dependent on the intent. So our process is once we've identified a property, then the due diligence takes primary place. We go the whole 9 yards, ensure that it's absolutely clean, and at any point of time, if we do realize or if we get even a hint that something is not right, then we don't take those properties to our clients because we don't want them to get stuck in unnecessary activities.
Yeah.
When real estate is such a big portion of your portfolio, you have to enjoy having real estate. It shouldn't become a burden, and you're always wondering, why did I get into it? So that's our stand. What we do is we always ensure that the due diligences are done well. Sort of red flag that is even remotely identified, we don't get into those properties at all. We don't recommend those to our clients. Now, if somebody comes with transaction that's already occurred, then obviously we'll have to figure out how to help them manage that situation. That's what we do.
All right. Before we close this chat, a final question to you on any advice you'd like to give to NRIs that are looking to invest in the property market in India for the very first time, apart, of course, from trusting experts.
Absolutely. So when you're investing in India for the first time, be aware. Don't be in a hurry. The property market always has its ups and downs. So you are never going to miss the bus. At the same time, ensure that you do your due diligences. Be clear on what is the reason for your investment. If you're going to live there, then obviously it's a different question. But if you're looking at return, then evaluate between commercial and residential. What are the advantages of both of those? What are the pitfalls of both of those? Ensure that we are using technology well. We have a very cool app. People can navigate through it, figure out all the latest happenings from the real estate industry as well on the app. So understand the market, figure out what are your commercials, how are you going to finance the particular property, how are you going to move the money in, how are you going to take it out, how are you going to manage it, because typically it's easy to buy a property, very difficult to maintain, right? Because then you need physical hands and feet on the ground who can take care of that for you. So ensure that you factor that into your decision making. And once you've got these pieces covered, then talk to the experts, because we've been here, done that. 10 years of experience in real estate wealth management, a long-term partnership with HSBC. Those are pieces that have ingrained a lot of these pieces into the overall company itself, and hence we are able to solve a lot of these problems for you, but we need you to be aware that these are problems that could arise. Once you made these decisions, then obviously it's going to be fun having real estate, deriving from the growth, because the Indian real estate market currently is $330 billion. Expected to touch $1 trillion by 2030. That's a 24% CAGR every year. So there's a lot of money to be made. And when there's a lot of money to be made, you obviously have to be careful. You don't want to jump the gun. But at the same time, you also don't have to worry too much, because you've got people who will take care of stuff for you. So
all right. So don't have FOMO. Invest for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
And with the right sort of attitude, and always go for the experts who really know this market in India. Deepak, on that note, thank you very much for sharing all these very useful insights for any NRIs that are looking to put money in the real estate market in India. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ritu. It was a pleasure talking to you.
All right. On that note, it's a goodbye, and thank you from all of us here at Navigate with HSBC. Do follow all the HSBC India social media handles for the latest updates. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.